this session under the title Housing in Crisis. We would like to underline once again the central importance of the housing question in the current crisis. Firstly, because it seems to concern one of the major reasons why this crisis broke out, which comes out in many presentations here. The first and the most emblematic example comes from the US through the subprime mortgages, from Spain through the building market crash, but as well through the serious dependence of housing construction and of the access to housing from lending. And secondly, because housing, being an essential human need, has a crucial importance in people's everyday life and their decent existence. Although the housing crisis broke out differently in the countries of the Southern Europe, there is undoubtedly a common experience. The access to adequate housing and living conditions is becoming more and more difficult for a broad range of social groups, threatened with eviction, foreclosure, or homelessness as a result of cuts in salaries and pensions, rising unemployment, new property taxes, etc. Under such unfavorable conditions, the discussion concerning the right to adequate housing and the security of tenure is gaining far greater public attention, while at the same time, multiple reactions and claims are coming up from existing or emerging urban social movements. To introduce you again to the questions of this session, we wonder in what way this crisis, the new policies and the legislative reforms have affected the access to housing. What have been the first and immediate answers by the movements regarding access to adequate housing and living conditions? Which are their various goals, demands, strategies and practices, and which social groups are mostly affected and therefore involved in such movements? Last, through the sharing of experiences emerging in different contexts, the final central goal of this workshop is to articulate shared practices, think about and create networks to further develop both a new imaginary for housing and collective, real and immediate answers for the emerging housing needs. Dimitra will introduce them.
So we have with us 8 cases that will be presented, as was the case in the morning. From Florence and Rome, the experience of housing struggles, which has a long history and is taking maybe new forms during the current crisis. From Greece, where the housing issue has been very little discussed, since it hadn't until very recently touched, let's say, a broad part of the population, but now within the crisis it is emerging, and within maybe existing networks and movement it's starting to be discussed and we will hear their concerns and issues. And also from Greece again, maybe one of the very few examples of an occupation made with the aim to house homeless people. From Spain, a quite known movement that has been opposing evictions because of people being unable to pay their mortgages, but that has since its beginning, let's say, made big steps towards its articulation with different movements, practices, and claims. And that is what will be the second presentation, also about the convergence, let's say, of squatting experiences and housing movements, but also the broader square movements in Spain. And finally, from Portugal, we will have some experiences from the fights in the peripheries, in the shanty towns, and the projects of regenerations, but also the new issues that are coming about with the new rent regulations and or policies that are being abandoned or changed. And before giving the speech to the first speaker, Irene, I want to say that in the second session, and we will invite the speakers to come and sit around, and the main point of the workshop is these movements to maybe also exchange speaks among themselves. Also the audience, of course, but since the idea is to discuss commonalities, differences, strategies, realities, we will invite you back all together, and we will try to do the conversation all together with Stavros Stavridis, who is going also to participate.